Hello and welcome to yet another episode about the coming transits.
Yes.
And this time it's about August. It's so close.
So close.
It's so close. And also, by the way, we are RamGoatAstrology. I am Helena, and this is
Laura Lee, hello.
Yay!
Welcome. If you're new here, welcome. We love to just chat astrology and all things in our life astrology and in the world astrology, and explore all the new stuff with you and how you can use it for a better life. Really?
Yeah. We do this every month. Every month we do like a forecast for the month ahead so that we are prepared at whatever energies are coming our way, and not to like be scared or make you like change your whole lives because of the transits, but it can just be nice to know like, oh, on those dates maybe I should chill a little bit. Maybe I should like not get into heated discussions. I should try and lay back, and like, oh, on those dates I should really get out there and hang out with my friends because that would be a lovely time, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Just
Absolutely.
nudging in the right direction.
The more we do these transit episodes, the more it helps me to tune in. I actually have a little paper calendar that I do write this stuff on. So I get out whenever we do these episodes, I literally get out my calendar and I start writing stuff down about what we say and what we talk about. Especially as a mom, like, I need to know when my kids are going to be asshats. Like, I really need to know
Yeah.
that so that I don't, strangle them or whatever. So the transits help me to just take a glance at my calendar, and on the days where like patience is needed, I will circle it and write that word. And
Yeah.
then I don't even need to know the transit really to just go, oh, today's one of those days. Okay.
Yeah. It helps a lot. I feel like usually days when if Pluto and Mars are having conversations, or Pluto and the Sun, or Sun and Mars, it's like a recipe for wanting to control like power struggles. And on those days, knowing that is happening, instead of just like going with just jumping in there, jumping in the hot pot and like defending my ego or something, I could just be like, that's happening today. Let's learn a lesson of humility here. Let me take a step back because this other person is in this energy and I know what's going on in the sky. So I can be the bigger person here and just take a step back.
Yes. 100%. I feel like me understanding the transits, or at least kind of leaning into them, helps me to stay humble.
Yeah.
That's really, and then that humility allows me to approach things in a more compassionate or more understanding way, or remove myself from a situation if I can't be understanding or compassionate.
That's it. Like sometimes, yeah, it's not the day to have that conversation, you know? Sometimes that day is for resting your mouth and saving it for another day.
Yes, ma'am. So
Yeah.
August 1st doesn't have much going on. We can take a little breather on the 1st, but the 2nd we have a transit with Venus, which will be in Leo. So she moved into Leo in July, and Venus is in Leo, and she's going to be squaring, which is having a kind of tension-filled conversation with the planet Uranus, who's hanging out in Taurus.
Yes. Venus in Leo is fiery, and it's about you being loud and fierce about your values, I think. And then we have Uranus and Taurus on the last degrees squaring Venus and bringing a turbulence to the core sort of your values and relationships.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I also see
Mm,
this with money as well.
yeah.
So Uranus is shaking things up, and Taurus is all about core things with food, money, safety, housing. So if we might recognize this day could be something where we might lose a lot of money all of a sudden, or we have a credit card fraud situation, or something gets taken from us, or we could get a boatload of money. But because it's a tension-filled conversation, I don't know if it
Mm.
will be very beneficial that way. It could.
Yeah, it could also be one of those days where you like have like, because Venus and Leo is also, like Venus is just lovely jumping around looking for like nice sparkly things. And in Leo, it's like even more enhance that feeling of wanting to feel luxe. So maybe spending way too much money on something than you
Yes.
actually have. And
Yes.
that is then causing a disruption in your
Yes.
finances in Taurus, in your like maybe in your savings account is like being busted.
Or you go over on your credit card limit or something like that. Or
Yeah.
yep. This could be a day where we really want to keep our mind on our work and other important tasks and be more diligent and disciplined with our
Yeah.
relationships and our money, because some hurt feelings could happen this day for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So August 2nd is like one of those days. Put on your calendar. I'm going to put mindfulness with money and relationships. That's kind of how I just write it down, because I don't have to know the specific transit, but as long as I know which, like how to apply that energy, it helps me. So what happens next? We have Venus moving into Virgo on the 4th. So how's that going
Yeah.
to change that energy?
Well, Venus entering Virgo makes Venus a little bit more earthy. It shifts the focus to more like self-care and health. Really time to focus on your health, not only like physical and mental health, but also relationships and finances. And it's a very like earthy, realistic energy because Virgo is very like, seeing the details and being quite analytical.
Yes, very analytical. This could be a time where you start to analyze your relationships, you analyze your money a little bit more. I saw this and I was like, oh, God. As soon as I see that, it makes me feel like a sense of release and relief around getting our finances, our spreadsheets organized. It's something my husband and I've been working on doing and kind of figuring out our like who's in charge of what in our house, right? Like getting the logistics down. This is a great day for that. August 4th is a great day to really get the logistics, or at least start, because Venus is just entering into Virgo. So it's a great day to start getting your logistics and analyzing where your money's going, analyzing your relationships, figuring out what needs to be moved into a healthier realm. When we think of Virgo, I love to think of health. And this is a sign where we're always kind of shooting for a healthier energy. That's why Virgo tends to be discriminated against for being judgmental or being obsessive. Virgo really gets judgmental and obsessive because there isn't a healthy status or a healthy thing in that person's mind, right? That the person being the Virgo energy. And maybe they want control of their desk, or they want control of their home, or they want something to be in control so that it feels healthier for them. But then that energy can get a little too far, right? It can go too far the other direction, where now it just becomes all about like obsessive control. So when we get to that, that's not healthy either. So Virgo really wants this healthy energy, and Venus there is very much focusing on the relationships and the health of those, and the finances and the health of that. So great time to start really getting into that work for the month. I feel like for the month of August, as Venus treks through there. So,
but
yep,
on the same day,
always.
Mercury goes retrograde. So Mercury has stopped and starts moving backwards in Virgo. And when Mercury goes backwards in is retrograding, that means that things that usually function, like your computers, transportation, communication, will have like it will be like a bumpy road, and it's a time when you do need to like double and triple check if you're gonna be signing important papers, making big decisions in your life.
Yep.
So
Travel,
and this,
being
yeah,
flexible with travel. This isn't like don't travel. There's a lot of people like, oh,
no,
it's retrograde, don't do this. No, it's recognizing that your
yeah.
plans may not go according to your plans.
Oh
Right?
yeah, and it's so like contradiction now because we are welcoming Mercury retrograde. Like
Right.
during my my time as an astrologer, I've learned going from like being a little scared of Mercury retrograde to going to welcoming it. Like, okay, this is a time to let go a little bit and sort of see what flows and what doesn't flow, and like reevaluating things, like very much being the observer.
Yes.
But it's tricky because Mercury is in Virgo, very analytical. And when things start going sideways, that can be very hard for a Virgo energy. So uh, beware of like overly analyzing when you feel things are starting to go sideways.
Yeah.
Just let the retrograde do its thing and use the Virgo energy to stay grounded in your thinking instead.
Yes.
While you sort of, so like do what you can. Don't try and overly control something.
Or point out all the flaws or all the things that
Yeah.
are wrong, right? That's exactly what Mercury and Virgo would do, is point out all of the things that are going wrong instead of the things that are going right, right? We gotta shift perspective and be like, well, okay, that went wrong, and what is going correct, right?
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
recognizing it, but don't get caught in the what's going wrong, which we
Yes.
can easily do during this time. So be mindful of that on August 4th. So a big shift with Venus moving into Virgo, Mercury in Virgo, and starting to transition its backwards retrograde cycle. And
All right.
then the same day,
Yes.
August 4th, why does it happen like that? Like,
Boom, boom. This is a
yep.
funny, this is a new moon also, a new moon on this day. So this is a funny new moon energy because new moon is all about like starting something new.
New. But Mercury retrograde is not about starting something new.
No.
So, this is a really interesting time with Venus moving into a new sign of analytical Virgo, your mind in analytical Virgo going backwards, and the new moon in Leo going, hey, let's be bold and brave and gregarious and excited about calling in new things.
Yeah.
So, this is fiery, and we do need to go after our desires and dreams and recognize that doesn't necessarily mean take action on them right now. It means maybe we're just manifesting them. Maybe we're just bringing them in and putting them down in our dream book, or putting them on paper, or writing them on a sticky note and putting them on our wall. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean take all the action right now.
No. And I feel like bouncing off the full moon in Capricorn that we had 2 weeks prior to this in July, which is a quite powerful, was a, well, it's in the future now, but it will be in the past when this is released. Powerful full moon in Capricorn that is all about structures, it's all about uh, also like very family oriented.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this new moon is a great time to like fiercely introduce new boundaries and new routines into your life and infuse it with fun also because Leo energy is all about being creative
Yes.
and
Playful.
like having fun with it. So if you can lighten up the, the energy from the release of the full moon that was 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
like, and also with all of this like Venus entering Virgo,
Yep.
your relationships also like focusing on like what's healthy in a relationship.
Yeah.
I feel
For
like it's
sure.
a good time to set some boundaries.
Absolutely. That's
And with
what I
yeah,
see.
and with Mercury starting to go backwards, it's also a great time to like reevaluate how has it been for me the last couple of weeks? What came up during the full moon in Capricorn? Reevaluate what happened and what do I want to happen differently in the future? How can I make changes?
Mm. And that Capricorn full moon was the second one of two.
Yeah,
So we don't often
double
get,
whammy.
we don't often get two full moons in one cycle, but we did this time. So that again was bringing up themes from the first Capricorn full moon and
Yeah,
right at the summer solstice. So again, go backwards to the summer solstice and what themes came up for you for that first Capricorn full moon, then the
yeah,
second one, and now pulling into this Leo new moon along with this Mercury retrograde. What do you need to analyze? What do you need to
yeah.
really kind of go back over and look at that relationship? Look at the relationship you have with money, bringing in money, and go, okay, where's the blockage? What needs to be dealt with? Where do we need better health and better flow? And that's what we call in with that new moon. So we got three things on the 4th, and then we have
Yeah.
some integration time. So when there's not a lot of uh, activity in the sky. It's not like they're not moving, they're just not having active conversations. And during those days, we get to integrate. We get to take time to adjust to the new energies or apply the lessons or do the work in the 3D realm. So we've got a couple days of integration. And then what?
On August 7th, Sun in Leo will sextile Jupiter in Gemini. Will be sextile to Jupiter in Gemini.
Yes.
Yay. This is fun.
I like
The
this one.
sun belongs in Leo, so it's really happy to be in Leo. And then in this easy conversation to Jupiter in Gemini that wants you to expand your mind and have new ideas.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a great time to, if you are that kind of person who want like, I'm not super social as a person, but I feel like even I want to go out and mingle this day and like go dance, have a little not go party hard, but like. Maybe go and meet some new people or just hanging out with peeps and being creative. Like this is also like very expansive
Yeah, in
for new
fact,
ideas.
don't party hard on the 7th
No.
because it could get easily out of hand. Very easily.
Yeah.
With Jupiter
Yes.
and Gemini and Leo's sun, those are
Who
both
knows what's gonna happen?
yeah, those are both
Yeah.
real bold and we have to always remember Jupiter can is benevolent and great and it's benevolent and great until it's not and now it's obnoxious and really
Yeah.
over the top. And it's like getting too drunk, right? We've all seen people who are too drunk. Like there's that cutoff of like, okay, you're having fun now. Stop drinking more.
Yeah.
So this is a great day to take advantage of that lovely energy and go after dreams and go after the things that you want to achieve, but make sure we do it with a sense of moderation as well. It could get out of control a little quickly with fire and air. Like with any fire, you want to tend to it. You want to make sure you're standing there with the hose and watching it, right? You don't just leave and go off do something else. You
Mm.
stay by the fire and you watch it and make sure that it's healthy. So I think that's always a great analogy when you're, with a campfire or with any kind of fire. You got to make sure that it's not burning too hot. And Jupiter and Gemini, that's big air
Yeah.
energy.
It's this
That
person going. Yeah.
exactly. I see one of those pump air things. They're like
Yeah. Bigger, bigger.
and the sun in Leo's like, okay,
Yay.
let's do
Yay.
it. So
Yeah.
this for children, as far as a parent goes, this is a great energy where it's playful, really playful. Like this would be a great day to go to the beach, go to the park, do something outside where they can be loud and obnoxious and run around like wild banshees, right? If you
Yeah.
have teenagers, make them go take a bike ride somewhere and burn some of this excessive big energy off. So it's a great time for playfulness and like little adventures and do things with your kids that are not stuck in the house. I feel like if you're in the house, you might blow it up inside, right? Get out
Yeah.
and use that big energy outside of your house. Like you said, if you're an adult, go mingle, right? If you're a
Yeah.
3-year-old, give them a sprinkler and a hose or give them something to just do
Yeah.
outside, right? So this
Yeah.
is definitely an outside play day.
Yeah. And you know what might happen if you go out and mingle? You might bump into an ex because on the same day, Mercury going backwards will be conjunct to Venus. And Venus is all about relationships. And I feel like this is one of those times when things from the past bubble up to the surface. Like
Okay.
you might get a DM from an ex.
Yep.
Maybe all of a sudden relationships from the past is like flooding your mind.
Yeah.
And just like when those things happen, I feel like people are usually like, oh, the green is grasser on that side. But I think that this energy is more about you reevaluating, like, okay, those things happen. Is there something from that relationship that I actually want to bring into this life, to my life, what I'm doing now? Was there
Mm.
something good that I left there that I want to use
Mhm.
again now? Or maybe I just need to rethink something that happened and realize, like, oof, that was bad. I do not want
Or
that back
yeah,
in my life.
maybe I communicated in a certain way that was effective or wasn't effective. We can really work on that communication as well. Maybe you had a particular falling out with this person and maybe you're not happy with the way you handled it and you have another opportunity to redo it or at least analyze what didn't go well
Yeah.
and maybe fix it with with a letter, with your words. There's a lot of words going on here with Mercury. So, especially with Virgo, because Mercury and Virgo are very comfortable together. That's the ruling sign. So if we do that, I think it's something we need to pay attention to our words. If we do run into an ex or somebody we've had a challenging relationship with, you may want to
Mm,
just, take some deep
yeah.
breaths and be very mindful of the words.
Yeah. And mind you, it might not be like ex-lover, it might be an ex-friend,
Mm-hmm.
ex-coworker, an ex-job, an
Yep.
ex-idea,
Yep.
you know?
Absolutely. Because this is something that can really, really be any of those Venusian themes, and
Yeah.
that rules all of the relationships, not just like a lover, right?
Yeah.
So we've got another couple days of integration. Well, at least one. The 8th is a little bit quiet. On the 9th, we have, she's an asteroid, and we don't talk about her much, but Juno is an asteroid that she'll be moving into Libra. She's the one that is the asteroid of long term partnership. Who do you choose as your partner, your marriage partner, your BFF? And who are you wanting to spend more time with? Because Libra is like hanging out together and just enjoying the good things in life, going to see music, going to see a romantic place to sit on the beach or just sit and have a cup of tea with your BFF. So when
Mm.
Juno goes into Libra, we can really take that partnership and really apply just some really nice, feeling good energy to it. So I can see my husband and I utilizing this one to I feel like our date nights have gotten a little bit, I don't know, kind of pushed aside. We still do them,
Mm.
but sometimes where it's like we're working, or sometimes it's the kids come out still, and like we're not being more, we're not having healthy boundaries with like, this is our date night for us to really connect, right? Whether it's intimately or whether it's just hang out together. And we've been a little bit loose with those boundaries. I feel like this would be a time for you to be like, nope, we need to get back to us, the core of
Mm.
us. So August 9th is a great day for your partnership to kind of takes full center stage there.
Yeah.
All right, then it's quiet for a couple days.
Yes.
I like that.
Many days. 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mars is then in Gemini, conjunct to Jupiter in Gemini on August 14th. So you have Mars, a planet that is all about your drive slash it can be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Together with the planet Jupiter, which is all about like it expands things. It can be quite like an energy that is like, oh, that'll be fine. I'll just do it, whatever. It'll be fine, like that kind of energy. And this together with Mars in Gemini, I feel like it's gonna be a loud day, like on the internet, on the news, in your
Mm.
private life. And I feel like if you got something on your mind, that will be the day it's gonna shoot out.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit too aggressive and loud. And I think instead of getting stuck in conversations, I think this is a great day for writing.
Oh, yes. Yes. Because when you write, you allow some space for the words to really come out in a slower, more diligent way. I always like to
Yeah.
write because there's a lot of people in my head and they all want to talk at the same time. But when I write, it feels like everybody kind of gets in line. And then my hand can only let one person's thoughts come out at one time. I can't go any
Hmm.
faster. So it's almost like everyone's got to get in line, and each paragraph or each conversation is like the next person. Okay, you said your piece. Okay, go on. Who's next? Okay, you. All right. What do you have to say? And then I write that energy out. So writing tends to give you a slower pace where you can really
Yeah.
analyze things a little bit better,
Yeah.
and then you can speak them out. Mars has been in Gemini since July 20th. So right before the sun moves into Leo, we had Mars move into Gemini. So it's been there for a little bit. So we kind of have a flavor of that already by the time it moves conjunct with Jupiter. But man, this day just makes me go, holy
Mm.
obnoxious arguments with
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
This looks like just obnoxious fighting about stupid shit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a day when your mouth will be very impulsive. So that's why I feel like if you feel like something is like about to shoot out of your mouth and you have a feeling that's like
Yep.
it mm, write it down, read it, take a few seconds and feel like, should I sit on this for a day?
Yes.
Or do I want to actually say these words to this person?
I'm going to tell you right now, you should sit on that for a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should sit on that because that same day, Mercury's retrograding into Leo. So you should wait, because when we have bold, audacious energy of Leo combined with fight and drive planet in Gemini and big, huge expansion, obnoxious planet in Gemini, you guys, seriously, just be prepared for your kids to say stupid shit, for the media to say stupid shit. Like, this is, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but this is like a say stupid shit day. this is a really August 14th. Just write that on your calendar. People saying stupid shit. That's really what that is.
Yeah.
Be prepared. And once, now that you know that, you can be like, oh, so when my teenager's an asshat, I don't have to like get all upset and be like, why are you treating me like this? Well, because it's say stupid shit day.
And don't try not to be one of those people who says stupid shit.
Exactly. And then
that's all we can do.
And then participate in the not contributing to the saying the stupid shit. Exactly. Yes. Tantrums, arguments. I mean, I have a 15-month-old and a 3-year-old, and I can see this just being one of those days where, again, this is like take it outside energy, right? Get outside and get them active into something else. Mars in Gemini needs to be intellectually stimulated. If they're not, they'll get bored and they'll fight. And they'll usually fight with words.
Pick a fight.
Yeah. Absolutely. Pick a fight just because my energy is bored and it needs to keep moving. So get your kids, get yourself into something, into a book or a project or something where you're keeping your mind and your energy moving. I think it's the stagnation that's going to cause problems. Yeah. Ooh, August 14th looks fun. I have that one circled.
Maybe sing this day.
Ooh, good one. Yeah. I like that. I like that. So we have the next day, we've got those two big things. And then the next day, we've got another transit happening where Mars is in Gemini. Oh, and he's having a square conversation with Saturn in Pisces. So this is, you guys, this is tempers. Temper. Okay, August 14th and 15th, everybody just write in your calendar. It's going to be spicy day. Yeah. Tempers and spice. Yeah, I'm actually circling those just as a mom, as a human, just, okay, this is the day we're going to get our lavender oil out and we're going to plan on going for walks in the woods. We're going to maybe take a day trip so that we can just, again, keep this energy moving. Mars needs movement.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so Saturn is so much about authorities, and Saturn being in Pisces is, we put people on pedestals, politicians, and then Mars and Gemini, loud media, loudness on, quote, the streets. And I feel like I can see some kind of demonstration against people in high places. And also people being loud about their leaders, but like trying to protect their leaders, like Saturn in Pisces, very much like, having that leader put on a pedestal. But do you actually know, like, be aware of carrying someone else's flag under false promises? Like, can you see clearly the reason why you are just blindly following this person? Try to anchor down. Yeah.
And this is coming just after our talk about the US political system. So I can see this really getting amped up from, the things that happened with the assassination attempt and the Biden being asked to step down. And there's a lot of tension, and it really looks like August 14th and 15th specifically are going to continue to contribute to that tension.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think our podcast is going to reach the people that need to hear it, as far as like, hey, why don't you like maybe not say anything today? I don't think that's going to happen with the political climate. So they're going to say the thing, right? They're going to be using their platforms to spew the things that they're angry about. So this is going to get tension filled. I would really avoid the news on the 14th and 15th. Just stay in your lane. Stay in your lane and do the things that you need to do for your family to maintain peace, to maintain sanity.
And I mean, this can also be used like if you're super grounded within yourself and you're a humble person and you know where different feelings are coming from, this energy can be used in a beautiful way to really to use a drive of Mars to amplify your voice about certain like leaders or like things that you don't agree with or
Right.
things that like bringing things up to the surface. But it all depends. Most of people, most of humanity is not that grounded.
No, no, not yet anyway. We're,
Mm.
we're
And I'm not
hoping.
saying I am either, you know,
No.
we usually work on reaction, like that's how we work as people.
Yeah.
But and
Mhm.
that's why we are mostly seeing that this might be a tough day.
Well, yeah, because Saturn in Pisces is just, I mean, we could do a whole nother episode on that, especially with the political climate, because Saturn is these authority figures and Pisces is not seeing things clearly and being disillusioned to what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And we have this all over the gambit. We have food being poisoned. We just found out that our tampons are being poisoned. We like it's everywhere. And Mars and Gemini is gonna speak about it. So if you need to speak about it and if you need to get mad, maybe utilize that platform of social media to gather your community and make a change for good. Maybe write letters to, Johnson and Johnson and Procter and Gamble and all the people who are poisoning our hoo-has with their chemical tampons, right? Like
Mhm.
use your words with Mars and Gemini to send emails to these people, to, the companies, and be like, no, no, you don't get to do this. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So you can use this in a good way. You can use that temper to pick a fight. I always tell my kids, like, quit fighting with me. Go fight the things that need to be fought, right? There are things
Yes.
that need
Yes.
your energy,
Yeah.
right? If your water's being poisoned, if you got government that's corrupt, like go use that and fight the things that need the change, that are
Yeah.
unjust. But don't fight me. I'm not in the mood. So use that if you really need to speak out on the 14th or 15th. I would really recommend taking that energy and applying it towards your government town board or your, city council, or writing letters to the corporations and the companies that are, slowly killing us. So that would be
Mm.
a great way to use that. But remember, things can get messy and possibly embarrassing, because when that Saturn's in Pisces, you don't see until suddenly you're close enough to see it. And then you're like,
Yeah.
because it's foggy. You don't see things in the fog when they're far away. And then when they get closer up and they're right in front of your face, and you're like, oh, well, that's a little embarrassing or
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Middle of month should be exciting. Then we have 2
Yeah.
days to integrate that crazy energy. And then on the 18th, we have a whole bunch going on. 1, 2, 3 things. Whew. Okay. So the first one, Mercury's been in Leo, and he's now going to be squaring Uranus.
Mm.
Shit, this just doesn't
Yep.
this doesn't get much better, does it?
Yeah. And the same day, Mercury will be conjunct to the Sun.
Uh-huh. 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 I saw
And on
that
the
one.
same day, also Venus in Virgo will square Jupiter in Gemini.
I don't have enough space in
I'm
my
rubbing my
calendar.
rubbing my forehead right now.
I know. I'm like, I don't even know what to put in my calendar that day. Like, just take a nap, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna be done. I'm spent by
Mm.
that day. Okay, let's break this down.
So
So with Mercury
yeah,
and Leo, we've got boldness, and he's still retrograde. So we've got boldness with our speech, bravery with our speech, courage with our thinking and our speech, having a tension-filled conversation to the planet that wants change, wants revolution, and wants to disrupt things so that they can function better in the stubborn sign of Taurus. So we've got stubborn Leo, stubborn Taurus. So we could really have some disruption in our life big time with thoughts, words, the things that higher up people say, right? Again, this looks like the Supreme Court's ruling on something that changes it, the way we function. Yet
mm,
again, they just ruled about 2 weeks ago that the president has immunity to
yeah,
like everything. I don't even understand what that means and why they would do such a thing, but clearly there's a bigger agenda. And so this looks like something where there's another brave statement or a brave,
yeah.
bold move by a higher up court or a higher up people that
Hmm.
disrupts the way we function on our normal life. So
Yeah.
this could be really interesting for a number of reasons, politically and personally. It could be somebody in your life calling and disrupting your life, right? There's a lot of like verbal disruptions. Oh,
Yeah. And because the sun is involved as well, being conjunct to Mercury, also then in a square to Uranus,
mm-hmm.
um, the sun is all about your identity. So whatever you're thinking, wherever your mind is going with what you want to change, you feel very much like that is your identity. This is me. So that
Yep.
becomes super important for you, right?
Fuck
Like,
yeah.
and very personal. I feel like
Mm. I didn't think about
this is
that.
getting
Yeah.
very personal.
Yeah. People will take things very personally. Oh, I keep
Yeah.
feeling like the Supreme Court's going to do something again. There's been a
Mm.
couple things happening down in Texas where they're doing I'm not going to I hope I don't like screw this up and don't quote me exactly on this, but there is a shift around allowing people to travel outside of the state for health care. So there's like border stoppings now, or they're planning to implement border stoppings specifically so that women cannot go get health care or abortions or whatever on in other states. This is a major issue because it's unconstitutional that we can't go across state lines and stuff. So, but this is happening. This is what's happening. So I feel like
Mm.
there's something in that realm and that
Yeah.
wheelhouse around, again, removing women's rights, removing the power that women have to make their own decisions. It feels like it's that realm again that this could
Mm.
be. So again, because Mercury is going retrograde, so
Yeah, it's going
we're going
backwards.
backwards,
There
right?
might be something back. I feel like this is like some kind of an identity change is going to happen in some kind of, could be in some kind of backwards
Yeah.
way. And the ideal way would be you rethinking and making a change that will make you go forward, because you have been reevaluating what you don't want. But
Mm-hmm.
Mercury going backwards is a tricky thing.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, the Sun in Leo really
Yeah.
makes it personal, right? It really
Yeah,
makes it personal.
and Sun and Leo takes things quite to heart as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like, it get quite like up in their ego.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So this will be a really interesting Sunday, August 18th, because then Venus and Virgo is having a tension filled conversation with that gigantic, obnoxious guy, Jupiter and Gemini. So our
Yeah.
relationships, maybe having some exchange of words or some energies that we have maybe one point of view and we're holding steady to one point of view when we really need to take a look at the other side of the coin, right? That Gemini
Mm.
energy of seeing both sides. So this could be a tension filled energy between relationships and only seeing one perspective and not seeing both of them. So
Yeah.
this could be a hard time focusing, making any kind of decisions, especially in regards to money, in regards to relationships. This might be a day where you spend money in not a way you normally would.
Mm.
So again, not making good decisions. Spending
Yeah.
money on
It's
something you didn't mean to or was too
yeah.
much or something like
But
that.
it's interesting what you were talking about with your thoughts on the Supreme Court and the things that they have ruled now against women and their healthcare. Because Venus in Virgo, like Venus being the female energy and Virgo being health, having
Yes.
a tension-filled conversation to Jupiter, like a loud voice, like
True.
in Gemini. So like, what are we gonna see in the news and the media
Yep.
about this? Yeah,
And especially on the heels
interesting.
of the 14th and the 15th, where there's already quite a bit of tension. So
Mm.
there's already arguments, tension, just really intense energy in the sky, which of course we already have that going on. So now we just add more fuel to the already burning fires. And then we have this tension between these relationships and women's health and speaking up. Whew.
Mm.
I hope you guys got some big girl
I
pants
hope that
on.
doesn't happen.
Right,
Yeah.
put your big
Mm.
girl pants on and hold on tight because this is a really interesting week in the middle of August.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen, but something big.
Something's gonna happen. Yeah.
So then we have the next day, two more things going on the next day, right? Three, four. Jeepers, crime and Nilly.
What was that?
Oh, that's something my mom used to say is Jeepers crime in Italy. It's just like this
Oh,
this phrase you just kind of say when you're overwhelmed and you're like,
yeah.
oh, okay, holy man.
Holy moly.
So we've got 3 transits on the 18th. And then on the 19th, there's 4. One of them is a full moon in Aquarius, opposite, no, square to Uranus. So this is that chart you showed me before we did
Yeah.
recording.
All right. Let me pull it up.
This is that day. Yeah. So when you look at the chart of this day, the 19th, we have Saturn at 17 degrees, opposite Venus at 17 degrees in Pisces and Virgo. And then we have a square between them and the Mars and Jupiter conjunction in Gemini. So that's about 17 and 19 degrees in Gemini. So we've got a square between Saturn, Venus, and then Mars and Jupiter. All right, cool. Then we have the full moon, 26 degrees Aquarius with the moon, 26 degrees Leo with the sun. And then Mercury will be there too. So that's a conjunction there. And those 3 are having a square with Uranus.
Yeah.
So we have fixed energy Aquarius, fixed energy Taurus, fixed energy Leo, all at the
And it's the full moon.
end
Whoa. So,
degrees.
oh my God. I feel like this is like, I'm just, for some reason, I thought of, you know how when eggs go bad, they just explode? Like,
that
is that,
happened yesterday to us.
no way.
Gertie
Oh,
was
it smells
bringing
so
in
bad.
Gertie was bringing in a container of eggs, a carton of eggs from the room where we keep them, and we usually rotate them and stuff, but every once in a while you have a bad one. And she was walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden she
Oh,
stopped and she looked, and I was like, "What happened?" She goes, "The egg just jumped out of the carton and exploded." It did. It just
yes.
all over the place. It was
Yeah.
so gross, so gross.
Because yeah, with full moons, it's so much coming to the surface, and I feel like this is like I feel like this is a very tension-filled day, as you can see with all of these T squares, and it's just like full moons is about, yeah, bringing them to surface and revealing them. So it will be a burst of so much tension.
Do we have advice for people? I don't know if I have any advice. I'm out.
I just no, I am a little exhausted by looking at this chart because Uranus is there playing like a key role in this full moon chart,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much fixed energy. This is definitely one of those full moons where Aquarius and Leo, that the sun and moon are in Aquarius and Leo, and both of those energies are very stubborn in their own ways. They're very like, I want to go this way. Well, I want to go that way. I'm not going to do what you say. It's
Yes.
very much that energy.
Feels
And
like a
then,
toddler. Feels like a toddler.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then you bring in Uranus, late degrees Taurus of this, like wrapping up that sort of disruption it's been doing in Taurus, just causing a little bit of extra chaos to
Chaos.
whatever is
Yep.
going to bubble up to the surface. So I just feel like we cannot know what to expect on this full moon, but there will be something like, and quite dramatic, I feel it, because the sun is in Leo, and I feel like Aquarius also can be quite dramatic in its way, like very
Uh-huh.
eccentric.
Yes.
Yes.
And revolutionary. I just keep thinking of my daughters. So
Revolutionary. Yeah.
my 3-year-old has 7 planets and asteroids in Aquarius. And she has her moon and sun conjunct at 26 and 24 degrees. So this is happening on her moon, square to Uranus. And I'm just like, this should be a fun day just for parenting, just her, right? That's just one of my
Yeah.
5 children. That's already, I'm like, okay. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And then that same day, I'm looking at the chart going, oh, and Mars is going over the top of my rising sign that exact day. So Mars will be conjunct my rising sign. So I can see where Mars has been trekking through my own natal chart in my 12th house. And I haven't had easy access to that fight and that drive. It's been kind of hidden from me in the fog. And I almost have to go into like the spiritual realm to access that drive, or the artistic realm. And now it'll be very prominent on my rising sign. It'll be suddenly
Yeah.
there. Like it came out of the fog and now it's bright and shiny right there. And I feel like that could be a day where I will be just personally more fighty, more ego, more drive, more like, so just knowing that about myself,
Mm.
not even about my kids or anything, but just know I need to check my temper that day. Cause it's almost like Mars has been like hiding in the closet and suddenly he comes out and he's like, hey, what the hell is going on here? I got some things to say. And
Yeah.
I have to be mindful of my own shit and what I say.
Yeah.
So this is a great thing to know. Again, look at your chart, you guys. Look at your chart. If you have any planets near these degrees, if you have anything going on natally in your chart around 26 degrees Aquarius or 26, 27 Leo, or, Taurus, or 17 to 19 in Gemini, you're going to be
Mm.
really activated. So
Yeah.
be okay with that and do your best to channel that into something healthier, productive, whatever that looks like for you and whatever planets are involved. But this is where the
Mm.
transit readings really, really help. And I just have the 19th of August. I think I'm just going to take that day off. Like
Mm.
I'm not going to, I don't want to do anything that day.
Yeah,
Well,
because then you look at the other T square with Saturn opposite to Saturn in Pisces, opposite to Venus in Virgo,
uh-huh.
and then yeah, doing this square to a conjunction between Jupiter and Mars in Gemini. And it
Mm-hmm.
just feels like it's a lot on the same day. And I'm just looking for like some kind of solution to this. And always with T squares, what you can do is you can look for that fourth leg. Like a T square is a triangle between three placements, and it looks like a half square pretty much. And just looking where that fourth leg would fall, and in this case, it would fall in late degrees of Scorpio
Mm-hmm.
and sort of middle of Sag. So
Yes.
I'm thinking like, okay, this day, can we be a little bit, we can try and be in that expansiveness of Sagittarius, like being expansive and also willing to go deep with Scorpio. Like this is what will help us, I feel.
Mm. I just saw me and my family out in the woods. This looks like a
Yeah.
good go for a walk in the woods day. Go for a trip. Sagittarius likes to take a trip. So getting out of your own environment and going to a different location might be helpful for you for
Mm-hmm.
dealing with some of this energy. Someplace where you
Mm-hmm.
can go deep, maybe out in the woods. Maybe you can go for a day trip out in the woods and you can just spend time kind of going into the feelings of all of the chaos that's in the world right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And something else that I'm like sort of leaning on right now is
Mhm.
that Pluto is in a sextile to Neptune and has been will be for the whole of August and up until September 4th. Pluto will be sextile to Neptune. And this is like an easy flowing energy of between transformation and our like uh, intuition. So I feel like, okay, whatever change is gonna happen, there is also place and there's a chance for real transformation in a place that comes from your intuition, from like a really good place.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm leaning on that.
Good. Good. At least there's something to lean on.
Yeah.
So after the 19th, we have essentially 2 days to integrate. So the 20th and the 21st, take some deep breaths, maybe take a shower, maybe do some journaling about what you just experienced the week before. And
Yeah.
then on the 22nd, we have two transits. One of them is the sun going into Virgo. So we're going to get into this organizing, analyzing energy where we get to spotlight the systems in our life. We get to highlight all of the systems that need adjusting, that need to be implemented, systems that aren't working, that need to be removed. I know you and I were just with our business meeting yesterday. You were like, okay, we use a online organization workspace. And you were like, this needs to be cleaned out. And I was like, please, please do it. Yes, please.
Yeah.
This would be a good day to do stuff like that. That's a great time to start really analyzing the organization of your life.
Yeah. It's like going back to school energy. Like buying all the pencils and rubbers, even though people don't really use those anymore. But that energy.
That is so fun that you said that. I never really put that together, that's back to school time. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I always loved buying all the school supplies and everything. It
Yeah,
always
you getting
feels
ready.
good.
You might get a new outfit for school.
Yep. I like that. Get your systems, get your stuff ready, a new backpack, whatever. And then that same day, August 22nd, is Venus is in Virgo, and she's going to be squaring her masculine counterpart, Mars, who's in Gemini. So we have the two energies of intellect, Gemini and Virgo. So we have these very analyzing signs, and the feminine Venus and the masculine Mars. So drama with relationships. That's really what this one is. Verbal arguments. I can see where there's going to be emotions and tensions running high. If you analyze the systems and the structures in your life and you realize that your relationship and communication are not well, the 22nd will probably highlight that for you.
Yeah. Like Venus in Virgo will be seeing all of those flaws, and then Mars and Gemini will want to tell you about it.
Yes. and not in a real kind way. Not that it's mean, but it's going to come out pretty blunt. Blunt. This is an energy I feel like I identify with. That my Mars natally is in Libra, but with my Gemini moon, Gemini rising, and then my Aries sun, I feel like I have a flavor of this. And I do speak very intensely. It does come out quite sharp and harsh sometimes. And it takes a lot of diligence to kind of soften that and really pull myself back, think about how I want it to come out. Not necessarily what I want to say, but how I want it to come out, how I want the feelings to be. And this might be a great day for you to really take that step back and analyze that question. Is this coming out how I want it to? Because Venus is sensitive and she's going to feel when it's not so much the words that you say, it's the energy behind the words that she's going to feel.
Yeah.
So remember to take your deep breaths and get out of the situation before you blow it up with, intensity or words or whatever. Go for a walk and get your physical energy out before you have that conversation. So be prepared again this 22nd, a little bit of tension specifically with money and relationships.
How do we feel about this month so far?
Yep.
I feel a little bit like, oh man, do people really want to hear this? Well, maybe not. I don't want to see this, but it's there. And yeah, it's just a validation sort of the times we're living in.
It is. And again, as a mom with 5 kids, sometimes I feel like I can get lost in the energy. And this actually helps me to kind of like zoom out and know that this isn't just happening to me. It's nothing I'm doing wrong. This is literally what we're all experiencing in some way, shape, or form. So it helps me feel like not such a crappy mom sometimes.
Yeah. And also I feel like with astrology, it's like, okay, it might be tough, but this is exactly what we are ready for at this exact time. Like astrology doesn't lie and give us things when we're not ready for it, even if it's tough and hard and devastating sometimes. It's what we needed to grow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 23rd, there's a little transit with Mercury real quick, is going to just be in Leo, sextile to Mars and Gemini. So it's a easy conversation. It's almost like you can just pass a note to your friend at school. It's a real easy thing to do. So this would be a great time where you can utilize the energy of Mars and the intelligence of Gemini with that combo, and then apply that with your Mercury and Leo and kind of help you think of new ideas and new ways to solve problems, which I don't know if you know this, but the week before that seems to be very problem creating. So you may need to deal with the problems that got created. And the 23rd will be a great day for you to kind of think outside the box and solve these challenges that showed up starting around the 13th and 14th. So you'll get a moment to have some peace and think about creative solutions on the 23rd. So then we have a couple things with asteroids going on the 24th and the 26th. And then, so there's still action, but August 26th, I want to mention, I talk about Ceres a lot in my readings with people. She's a dwarf planet about the size of Pluto, and she's the one we look to for nurturing. How do we need to nurture ourselves and take care of ourselves? I look at her as the planet of self-care and like feeding yourself. And she's been hanging out in Capricorn for a while. She was retrograde. And now on the 26th of August, she's going direct. So we've been really needing to take a look at how we're nurturing ourselves and feeding ourselves and really make sure that we are, giving our bodies the food that our bodies really want and giving our energy the people and the activities that really align with us. It's really like, how do we fill our bucket? So this past couple of weeks, while she's been going retrograde, we've had to really take a look at those things in our life and how we do that self-care. And so now she is going to be going back forward. And on August 26th, we can kind of really take these lessons we've learned and apply those goals of self-care and apply, like, do we want to change our eating patterns? Do we want to, my kids are talking about going sugar-free. I got a 12-year-old and 15-year-old telling me they're going to go sugar-free for a couple weeks. And I was like, what?
All right.
All right, cool. So things like that, really analyzing if you're consuming too much of one thing and maybe you need to, have some new schedules around how you feed yourself. So the 26th is a great day for that. And then what do we have next? How do we wrap up the
August 27th, well, there's actually quite a few transits and ingresses left. So August 27th, Venus in Virgo will make a trine to Uranus and Taurus. Is this the first trine of the month?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Okay,
We've
yay.
had a sextile and then a lot of squares and a lot of conjunctions.
Yes. Okay, so Venus in Virgo, I like Venus in Virgo because it's all about health and taking care of yourself, I feel like. And then, really looking into the details of your relationships, like how can I make this work better? And then making a trine to Uranus and Taurus, I feel like here, because it's a benevolent conversation, you can find new ways of introducing health into your life, both in your financial life, in your relationships, and your self-care. And Taurus is all like laying the groundwork. So, or maybe and breaking, like, it's Uranus and Taurus. So maybe like breaking habits that have been very long lasting and very the sort of
stubborn,
foundational and stubborn within you.
I really like this. This feels like one of the first easygoing days for a while.
Yeah. Looking forward to August 27th.
August 27th, if you can get to that day.
Yeah.
This would be a big, huge improvement with money, with the flow of money, with relationships, with the flow of relationships, business, right? Business partnerships. This looks like it's like there may have been tension and tension and tension. And now finally there's that feels better.
Yeah.
So if you can get to August 27th, things should lighten up a little bit then.
Yeah, and I do feel like this last week of the month or the last couple of days of the month are sort of like, it's getting a little better here, you guys. It's getting a little better.
It is.
But first we have a Venus opposite to Neptune. And I mean,
I don't mind this one. Oppositions don't feel as challenging. It feels more like a good game of tennis or pickleball or ping pong, where it's just kind of back and forth energy. So when it's back and forth between the planet of what we love and the planet of spirituality and intuition and artistry, I don't feel like this is a really difficult energy.
No, they're both sweet energies. We're not talking about like aggressions like Mars and changes like Uranus, but yeah, two sweet planets doing a back and forth sort of tennis match on this day.
Yeah.
Well, like the worst thing I don't know anything about what's going to happen, but I feel like something that could happen that is not so nice is that you lose yourself into something like, because Neptune in Pisces can get you lost. Like maybe you will meet someone, have a huge crush, and then they are not at all what you thought they were,
Yes.
for example.
Yes. Yes. I can see that. Or it could be even you just lose yourself in an art project that day and you're
Yeah,
just like the time just disappears and you're just really in the flow of something. So, yeah, losing yourself in
into
whatever
things.
way that looks. Yeah, exactly. So that same day, Mercury decides to pause on his backwards motion and goes direct. And he's in Leo when he does this. So
Yeah.
we can now breathe again a little easier with Mercury moving back forward.
Yeah. So now it will start moving back forward over the same degrees it's been already working its way backwards into. So it will start going in the right direction again over the same signs and degrees that it has been going backwards in. So it will be like forward, but still a little bit like dwelling in the past. It will be the last chance to sort of rethink and reevaluate some of the things that has been going on for the past couple of weeks.
Yes. Yes. And I like this. It says, well, what this retrograde can be humbling. It's time to move forward with new confidence that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And that feels very Mercury and Leo, where it's been pulled backwards, pulled backwards, pulled backwards, and now like, okay, fine, go forward, go do your thing. So we had to reevaluate and we had to really re-examine, and now we get to take a step forward after the reevaluation, which is really what Mercury wants to do when it's in Leo. It wants to take action.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple more things now, the end of the month, the 29th. Venus is done in Virgo and she goes into Libra. Oh.
One of her homes.
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
Yeah,
It's just sweet and lovely, and like Libra is super artistic, and it's all about the relationships. So Venus, that is also relationships and loveliness, will be even more focused on, because I feel like Venus has two homes. One being Taurus, which is all about the senses, sensuality. The other being Libra, which is all about the relationships. The other, the diplomacy. So here, Venus is using more that energy,
yes. Yes.
thinking about the other.
Yes. And this also has a lot to do with money and the legal system. So I know I've been following a lot of what's going on with the US and student loan forgiveness. I am in that category that I would very much appreciate if my student loans were forgiven in some way. I don't even need the whole thing. It mainly for me, it would be if the interest was
Mm,
altered or fixed. I've got the amount of interest is almost like half of the loan. So it's just keeps accumulating interest and interest and interest. And it's very, very frustrating because these loans are not loans you can really get out from under. You can't file bankruptcy for them or with them or anything. Like you're just stuck with them. And when I took these loans, I was just a wee young lass, and nobody talked to me about student loans. Nobody was like, "Hey, Laura, maybe you should think about the money you're taking right
yeah,
now, and here's how these loans work."
yeah,
Nobody did that. So when my colleges were like, "Here, you can get $5,000 a semester," I was like, "Okay," and I took it all.
yeah,
I took all of it,
yeah.
all of the money. I was like, "Sure," and I remember thinking several times, "Ah, future Laura will figure this out." So
Well, future Laura, how does it feel?
I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah,
So to me, this looks like something happening when it comes to the legal system, the justice system, and the money with people, right? And on a bigger scale. I know we have a lot of disparities in the US alone with housing and money, and it's been really weird over here when it comes to money and what money can get you and how you can pay bills back and all that. So I'm hoping that this Venus trek through Libra makes some kind of relief for people, gives some kind of closure to some things. So I'm not sure how it'll show up, but when she's trying to Pluto and Aquarius on the 29th,
Mm.
that feels like we're shaking something up on a global, on a bigger scale, right?
I love that end to the month.
Yeah, yeah, that feels really, really lovely. So she moves into Libra, and then she immediately is having this very, very easy, lovely conversation with Pluto in Aquarius. So intense aspect and very karmic kind of stuff, but very connected to money, the legal
Mm.
system, and revolutionary stuff and changes.
Yes.
So I'm over here like, come on, student loan stuff.
Yeah.
Because in our situation, and I know everybody's got their opinions on the student loan forgiveness, and that's fine. You can have your opinions. For me, it is the thing that is blocking us from getting access to our home equity line of credit. So we have a line of credit that we've built on with our land and stuff over the last 12 years of being here, and it's a really big chunk of money we have built up equity. And I would love
Mm.
to be able to access that so that we could use that to maybe pay off the student loans, or maybe, build our new barn house we're going to do. But they won't even give us any kind of access to that to even rearrange our finances, because they
Mm.
look at our numbers and go, well, no, you have student loans. And I'm like, yes, I know. I'm trying to work with that. I'm trying to figure this
Yeah.
out. So it's very frustrating because it's the student loans are the thing that's like really putting a lot of downward pressure on us to be able to make any sort of changes.
Mm.
It's this like, I don't know, thorn in your side or in your foot, right? So for us in our situation, it's the thumb that is really holding us down. We really need some kind of relief. And I don't care what it looks like, but somebody throw me a bone or a line or a rope or something, because we've been working our asses off, trying to be a family, trying to build up our finances, trying to do all this stuff, and it feels like we keep getting squashed by these intense student loans that just keep growing. The
Yeah.
interest just keeps growing. I think right now my interest is growing $8 a day. A day.
Oh my goodness.
What? Like, I can't even make a payment that will even pay the principal off. It'll just
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. So I very much am in this situation where, like, we are not at a point where even paying it is going to do anything. And I don't make quite enough to like have a payment option either. So I'm really hoping that the 29th that there is something. And we did hear, um, I mean, Biden's plan is basically they're trying to get it through by fall, which is in September. So let's cross our fingers that there's some relief with that
Yeah.
Venus trine to Pluto on the 29th.
I'm hoping for some benevolent changes.
Me too.
They may be radical, but well needed.
Right. Right. And that's exactly it. The radical change that, what if we offered free higher education in America? We're one of
Mm.
the only
Yeah.
developed countries that doesn't. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
What kind of radical thoughts are those, right? So very interesting month, Helena. I'm not quite sure if I have an opinion on the month yet. I don't know if I want to even try to form an opinion on the month of
Mm.
August.
Feel like I got plenty of respect for it.
Yes, this feels like a month of humility, doesn't it?
Mm.
Everybody make
Yeah.
sure you take your humble blanket and put it over you and wear that humble blanket while you're walking around life in the month of August, especially through
Yeah.
that 14th to the 23rd time frame.
Yeah.
Everyone take your humility pills. Make sure make sure you're checking the stuff that comes flying out your mouth.
Yep.
I always tell my kids, you need to insert a new filter. That what you just said should not have come out. Put a filter in. And so that's kind of how I've taught them to, when it's appropriate to say something and when it's not. And when we're in this situation and when we're at home, and at this time we can use less filters, and at this time we use a lot more filters. So I use that analogy with my kids. So I'll recommend to all of you, the 14th to the 23rd, install extra filters and
Yeah.
just be mindful. And I wish you all the best.
Mm. Yes.
Oh, you got to laugh, because what else can you do? I mean, I guess you could
No,
cry,
this.
but
Yeah, and it's fine to do both. It's probably nice to have a good old cry to release, and then just
I
laugh about the insanity of it all.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I'm there with you. I will laugh until I cry, and then I'll go journal about it, and then we'll go for a walk in the woods. Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. And if you want to learn some more about insanity, you can head over to our Patreon where we have 2 classes on Uranus,
Yep.
a deep dive in that. Laura has released an episode, a class actually
Class.
on Astrology 101,
Yep.
giving you lots of information about how to start learning how to read your chart, basically, learning about astrology. And
Super bite-sized basic information. So if you're just
yeah,
diving in and you're like, wow, this sounds crazy cool, I want to learn more, that is up on Patreon as well. So check that out. And then if you guys want to learn more too, I just released a blog post on my new website, lauraleelotto.com, about how Uranus affects me on a daily level and what this looks like. Not only society, that's in there, but also on a daily. And it has a little bit of information and education along with some fun personal anecdotes. So if you want to check out my new blog post on that, it's called Dealing with Chaos on the Daily. So
yeah,
there you go. Well,
amazing.
thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you have any questions or want to be on the show, or if you have any comments, we would love to hear them. So leave us your feedback or shoot us a note, and yeah, let us know what you think about all this.
Yeah.
We can't wait to hear from you.
Yes, and if you want to support the show, just supporting us, we do have an account on Buy Me a Coffee. So you can buy us coffee or tea and support the show in that way. And we thank you for that.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us this week. Be sure to like and support the show by sharing with a friend or joining us on Patreon. And you can buy us a tea or coffee and financially support us. Thank you so much. It's so appreciated.